Hello and welcome to the 49 Minutes of Heaven we call the D1Baseball Thursday night preview. The first week of the season is upon us. Conference previews are behind us. And it is go time, people. I want to say thank you to our good friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors for their partnership. Also want to say thank you to the great Pat the Stat James and Bria Lasik, who are our producers, who make this happen, who clean up this act, if you will, and can't do it without them, of course. And so we are going to jump in here. I do want to say, as we get started, our thoughts and prayers and condolences to everyone associated with Iowa Lakes Community College. We saw that tragedy. This is, this time of year, the travel for baseball and for all sports. It's part of it's the best part of why we do sports and the camaraderie of a team. And of course, travel can, it's not always perfect. So we are thinking of those folks. Just a incredible tragedy. And it just, again, thoughts and prayers to those folks. As we get going here, I do have my three amigos here. I've got Aaron J. Fitt, I've got Sauce, I've got Joe Healy, and I've got Senior Smart. I've got Bradley Smart coming to us
Whiz
from
Kid.
Yeah, the Whiz Kid, the Wonder Boy, I heard him called too. But we need to say that in Spanish because Bradley's in Puerto Rico. Bradley, how we doing down there?
We're doing well. I'm beyond excited to be, boots on the ground for the first game of the earliest start
That's true.
of the 2026 college baseball season. So very excited to be down here for that.
I just want to commend Bradley, first of all, for coming into this show a little bit more clear-eyed than Aaron J. Fitt might allegedly was on this same show from Puerto Rico last year after allegedly enjoying a boat drink or two at the Hilton Ponce before the show. I just want to congratulate you on your professionalism, Bradley. Thank you for all you do for the game.
Oh, that's well played. Boys, before we preview the weekend, I have a question for you. This dawned on me today. It's Thursday, clearly. I will be at a baseball game tomorrow. You guys will too. And it's been a hot minute since I've been at a baseball game, scouting, evaluating, taking notes. And so my question to myself, which is going to be my question to you, was, what the heck do I need to go watch a baseball game? And, when I pop open my computer, what are we turning on? Like, what are we doing? So I'm going to give you guys my system, and I want to hear your setups when you sit down at a game. So I'm now committed to the Remarkable 2 writing tablet. I've created my own template for scoring games. It's a little small and crowded, but it's convenient because I'm not lugging a 30-pound Bob Carpenter scorebook around. So my back appreciates this, and it's sitting right there. It's beautiful. As far as my internet situation goes, I'm gonna have the WhatsApp tab open, clearly. Gonna have the stat broadcast tab open for the game I'm watching. That's clutch. I'm gonna have a minimum of, actually, I'm gonna have 5 D1Baseball.com tabs open. I'm gonna have the score page. I'm gonna have each of the two teams' fall reports, because this is the time of year where I'm still going back to fall reports a lot. And then I'm going to have 2 separate pages where I could just pick off individual players and look at their stats from past seasons. So I think that's going to be my go-to from the jump. Writing tablet, plus I think I just labeled, I mentioned 6 or 7 tabs right there. Now, Bradley, since you scoffed at me, and I feel like this is really hurtful, since I feel like I've really tutored you in a lot of your IT life. It really helped raise you. What is your system, Mr. Smart?
I just want to clarify. I was not scoffing at you. The Remarkable 2 plug was nice.
Thank you.
I'm kind of all over the place at games because I really like taking pictures, photography. So I kind of go in and out of wherever I'm sitting. And so usually what I'll do is I'll have, the scorebook up at the, press box area. And I'll kind of be going back and forth to that. And I'll have a smaller notebook. But I will say I got over Christmas gift was a Kindle Scribe, which was something I talked to Aaron here about at, not the Kindle Scribe, but he has, we'll let him go into his setup. but I have that now too. So I'm figuring out, what's the best way to approach this new season. So we're gonna be testing some things out
The
opening
Kindle
weekend.
Scribe is a writing tablet, Bradley. That's a new writing tablet?
Yeah, and it's been great so far. I would recommend.
It's got to be small though, right? Or is it the size of like an iPad or not? Okay, yeah, nice.
It's playable.
All right, yeah, it's playable. All right, Joe, what say you? What's your setup?
Okay, I love this question, Runes. First off,
Thank you.
I am the only one. I would bet. See, Runes, I'm with you. Like, it's been a while since we've been to a game. It feels like it takes a minute for the machine to groan back to life. You know what I mean? Like, got to get the oil in the gears again. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I went and repped a JUCO game here locally.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
What a nerd.
Went to a JUCO game here locally the other day.
Joe had
It was
his own personal alumni game to get ready for the season.
In my in my defense, it was a very nice day outside, and it was a short drive, so it was just an excuse to be outside. But it did kind of remind me though of that I need to get this nailed down. So here's here's what I do. I get set up in the press box first. I get I'm still a physical. I have visual aids for those who are watching the video. I have my scorebook. This is a Bob Carpenter that I adorn with stickers from my travels for games. So that's why it looks a little bit different there. I start out, I put my scorebook together first. If lineups are out, I put my scorebook together first. That's the first thing. Second, I grab my field notes notebook. I'm a field notes guy. This one has Arches National Park on the front of it. I open it to whatever page is the first blank page. I slip it under my laptop so that I can write on it and it stays open like that. I also am a little bit of a pencil nerd. So I've got these Tombow green pencils here. I've also got these Blackwing pencils. These are Jackie Robinson edition. You'll see the 42
Nice
right there on the pencil, Jackie in Dodgers colors. So I'm pretty strapped up as far as it goes.
You are strapped up
as far as being ready for games is concerned. And as far as tabs goes, I used to be someone who watched a lot of stuff while I was at a game. Like I'd have something streaming on my laptop while I was watching a game. And it just got to a point where I realized if I'm watching two things, I'm watching zero things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll keep the scoreboard open to just keep, updated on what's happening. But I try to stay locked in on my game so that I can actually, do my job when it comes to that one game. So just the scoreboard, and that's pretty much it, unless I need to look something up.
I love it. Fitzy, what say you? That's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Are you strapped up at a game?
Yeah. How strapped up is Aaron?
Well, first of all, I'll say this: I'm with Joe on when I'm at a game, I'm covering that game. And that's, sometimes people tweet at me like, "Oh, why you didn't tweet about our team all day long?" Well, I'm not at your game. All right. Like when I'm at a game, I'm covering the game I'm covering.
Amen.
And that's just like, I'm not like sitting there looking at scores and retweeting everything. I'm just not how I roll. Sorry, guys. If that you don't like it, too bad.
Too bad.
Also, I'm not a press box guy. Only during the postseason when I'm trying to keep an eye on squeeze play, #squeeze play.
I know.
Hey now, indeed. Is that the first hey now officially of the season? I don't know.
Maybe.
I like to sit down below, where the scouts sit behind the plate and kind of get a pulse for the action. It also is, I've got a big lens, I can take photos from wherever I'm sitting, usually like behind the plate. And sometimes I'll go down the lines to shoot a little bit too, but I can often get a lot of stuff from where I'm sitting. Used to tote around a big radar gun. Nowadays we got the TrackMan access. So I just have that pulled up on my phone or my iPad. And I've got a digital score tablet as well. I've got my own template. I'm kind of the OG of that move. I've been at that for several years now, and it's a game changer because you got all your notes from years back and fall and summer all at your fingertips. So that's my setup.
I like it. I got a big lens. We'll be the judge of that. Goodness gracious.
Sir, you have no idea how big his lens is.
His lens is. It
Look
is
at this
monstrous.
monster. Look at this monster.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Fitzy is strapped up. So very good. Well, this will be fun, and we will adapt as we go through. Joe, this will be a separate podcast, but I have many follow-up questions about field notes. I have no idea what that is, and I am eager to learn more. So,
okay, yeah, I'd love to show you.
Thank you. Bradley, so you're in Puerto Rico. So what I figured we would do is let's go around the horn, and I'll tee you guys up on the major events we've got going on opening weekend. But Bradley, I want to, in just, things we're looking forward to learning, or starting to learn, I think is the focus for weekend one. Bradley, you're in Puerto Rico, and I'm going to miss part of the field, but, I know that there's going to be Washington there and Houston and Wake Forest and NC State. And no offense to Houston, but I maybe it's because I did the Big 12 preview, but I'm more curious about Washington, Wake, and NC State. I believe BC's there, and I'm probably missing at least 2 or 3 teams. But yeah, tell us what you're looking forward to there, Bradley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down here because there's 3 ACC teams. A shameless ACC Extra plug. If you're not subscribed to ACC Extra, you should
what are
be.
You doing, if you're like?
But yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for me is I'm really excited to see some of these arms, because tomorrow is going to be, you're going to see Blake Morningstar from Wake, Ryan Marone from NC State, AJ Colarusso from BC, like 3 frontline guys in the league. And I'm really interested to see who follows. Chris Lavonis, sort of a fully healthy, ready to go. The reports out of the fall were very, very good on him. So getting to see Lavonis. And then what does Jacob Duden look like in his first weekend start for NC State? So I think there's a lot of good storylines in the ACC, which is a big part of why I'm here. But I'm also, I'm interested to see what Washington does. I think they were like 17-13 in the Big Ten or something similar last year, kind of out of nowhere. So what does that sort of follow-up team look like? Will be something to keep an eye on.
Fitzy, I'm going to come to you next on this tournament because it's ACC centric. And by the way, on the ACC Baseball Etc. podcast, Fitzy and Bradley and Darren Vaught did what they called it an extravaganza podcast getting ready for the season. It was spectacular. You guys nailed that. That was a very, very fun listen and very comprehensive. And I'll tell you, I was driving and I've been walking down the road towards tremendous conviction around the ACC this year, and I came out of that podcast like fully engaged. Like I'm all in. Like I picked an ACC team to be my national champion, and I felt empowered by that podcast. I mean, it really is, the talent level in that league is man, it's compelling. So go ahead, Fitzy. What from the Puerto Rico tournament? What stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bradley hit on a lot of the things that I've got my eye on as well. The Wake Forest arms, really curious to see really all how all those guys do. I mean, also Duncan Marston and Nate Weissong went back healthy. I assume out of the bullpen. I haven't looked at the rotations, Bradley, but those are 2 very, very talented sophomores that I think could be a big piece. If Wake Forest is going to be healthy and all those power arms are effective on the mound, like that's an Omaha team. I mean, I think it's incredibly high ceiling there. So I think that's exciting. Agree on the Duden factor, but also the left side of NC State's infield, Mikey Ryan, Sherman Johnson, 2 guys that I think are very exciting. And I think a big key to NC State's season is, okay, they can make spectacular plays. Are they going to make the routine plays? And I don't have any evidence to suggest that they can't, but it's just a matter of they're unproven commodities at those positions. And so like, that's the key things. You just need stability, I think, on the left side with those 2 new starters, but gosh, those are exciting talents. I know Joe was at NC State fall scrimmage, and Joe, would you have Ryan at like 4 flat down the line or something? Like the guy can fly and also has juice. He's an exciting dude.
Yeah, the coaching staff has just described him as the best athlete they've had there in a long time, and that's saying something. That's not a program that really is in the business of not having good athletes. So, but yeah, that was the first time I'd really seen him in a live setting, and he had a little more speed to him than I thought. So, exciting player for sure.
Joe, keep the mic. What about that group of teams is intriguing to you?
Well, I'll see Houston at the Frisco Classic, so I'm kind of interested in getting the first look at Houston and seeing what that team is about. It's obviously a program that's a little bit on the ropes right now. The Big 12 has been not the best transition for them. I think there's that staff is feeling a little bit of pressure to get things headed back in the right direction, and we'll see if they can do that in this tournament. And Washington's a team that I personally have a stake in just because I took them at our stock market game. I believe. Did I take them at our stock market game? Let's pretend like who could say? Let's pretend like I did. But regardless, I do remember talking about them on that show because they were a team last year, Runes, where I think you and I maybe even privately had conversations where we're like, man, this could be a year where they just kind of take it on the chin a little bit. And they were extremely competitive in the Big Ten and won a lot of games there. And so what do they look like in year two where they've had that full off season to kind of come together? So that's another team I've kind of got my eye on there. Houston and Washington, in addition to the ACC clubs, are definitely interesting to me.
It's this conversation. It's interesting to me that NC State shortstops came up because, like Mikey Ryan was at LSU, and like LSU recruits at such a high level. I think I have to be careful when a kid doesn't make it there, not just assume he can't play, right? Like I think about Austin Rolling, who was all Big 12 last year, and now Arizona State couldn't be more thrilled with him. And he started his career at LSU and couldn't find the field. And and then Ryder Woodson, am I saying the name right, who was at NC State now and is Mississippi State starting shortstop. And, he had a tough time getting on the field at NC State, but then went off in the regional, if memory serves. And now he, it sounds like Mississippi State's thrilled with him. So,
well, the thing about it is that you cannot play at NC State on the infield if you can't pick it. Like that's the thing. Like you can hit for days, but if you're not going to pick it and if you're not going to play, I've been at practices at NC State where Elliot Avon is pacing around the infield and is just yelling the number 980 at his players because, he's, elite defenses field 980 or better. And so look, you can hit all you want there, but if you really can't field it, you're just not going to see the field.
Yep. By the way, Joe, you not knowing if Washington is on your roster or not was very famous head coach in their prime or maybe beyond their prime, where it's like you're such a legend that you're not even required to know the names of your players, and they have to be cool with that. I love that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I'll look at the roster later at some point.
That was my high school football coach, by the way. Certain he didn't know my name. I love everything about that. Gamp Pellegrini, R.I.P. The best.
Augie Healy in the house here.
Yes, that's right. So great. All right, boys, let's do Globe Life. That tournament is just absolutely incredible. You've got Vandy, Arkansas, and Oklahoma out of the SEC. You've got Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and TCU out of the Big 12. That tournament is just always incredible. It attracts, nobody ever says no to Globe Life, right? Like you're going to play indoors in a big league facility and your RPI is, guaranteed. You could lose all 3 games and it helps your RPI. So, Joe, why don't you start us out there? What's something you're looking to learn from the Globe Life tournament?
I want to see what Arkansas's rotation looks like. When you're talking about Gackle and Dietz and Colin Fisher, there's a lot of question marks there. Not questions about talent and potential, but questions about, what it's ultimately going to look like. You've got Gabe Gackle, a guy who started last year for about the first third or so of the season, maybe half, and it went fine. It wasn't a disaster, but it also wasn't great. And so is he better suited for it this time around? It sure seems like there's a lot of positive things coming out of Fayetteville, but he's going to have to prove it. Hunter Dietz, believe it or not, I mean, if he goes more than an inning and a third, I believe, it'll be his longest outing of his career. He's only had a couple of outings with Arkansas because of injuries. And then Colin Fisher was a depth piece last year that has now moved into a more prominent role. So those 3 guys they're going to get TCU, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State. Boom, boom, boom. And those are 3 teams that can hit. So they're going to get tested right out of the gate. I don't have a lot of concern about Arkansas offensively, but I do think there is the possibility that this weekend ends up reality check's too strong a word, but just too strong a phrase, but more just like makes them kind of reconsider or makes them think a little further about what are our best combinations and how do they fit together, because it's 3 very tough teams.
Yeah. Fitzy, go for it. Globe Life. What jumps out?
Well, I think Texas Tech is a team I heard you talking about on the D1 Daily show with Chris Burke. And you made the bold prediction that they're going to be back in a regional this year. Way to stick your neck out there.
They missed 2 in a row. Come on. Well, they were 20 and 33 last year.
I mean, if you would have told me, all right, they're going to Omaha, that's a bold prediction. I think saying they're going to be in a regional, okay.
My boldness is really in question over the last 2 years. I got to go to, is there a boldness camp I could be sent to?
I will say this, though. I do have a lot of conviction in their position player group. Logan Hughes and Tracer Lopez and Robin Villanueva. I mean, they got some proven commodities and some experience there, and I think they've got some balance. With some left-handed threats, right-handed threats, and some speed and some power. I think they're going to hit. I don't know that much about the arms, and that to me is how well are they going to pitch it? There's not a lot of proven commodities on the mound. I mean, I haven't seen if they've announced their rotation for this weekend, but like the rotation we were expecting to see. I mean, it's 3 guys combined for about 11 innings last year. I mean, so we'll see how that comes together for them. I mean, there's certainly arm talent there. There's like they often have. It's mid 90s guys, but like how does it translate? And for me, that's going to be obviously a major test this weekend against some really high end competition. So that to me is intriguing.
It's a little bit of a
go ahead, Joe. Yeah, go.
A little bit of a theme to build off that. A little bit of the theme of the Big 12 side of this tournament is that if you take those 3 Big 12 teams and put them together, there's really one proven starting pitcher there that you feel really good about, and that's Tommy Laporte. So congratulations, Vanderbilt, on drawing the one starting pitcher in that trio that is going to bring the goods. And so that's a tough draw for Vanderbilt, especially when you consider the concerns about offensive production that continue to crop up year after year.
Who's Vandy play first in that game, Joe? Because they're getting Connor Fennell. Congratulations on that, whoever drew the Connor Fennell game.
But yeah, it's TCU. It's TCU Vanderbilt. So,
gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Laporte versus Fennell. Goodness. Okay.
It's a good matchup. Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah, that works. Fitzy, those are all great points. I think I think the Texas Tech really doesn't know their pitching yet. Like Parker Hutera has got to be a guy, like that's non-negotiable. But I love 2 of their newcomer hitters. You guys have heard me say these names. Matt Quintanar coming from Blinn College, started his career at Pepperdine, and then Lincoln Garcia, 6'5" freshman shortstop from Huntington Beach, California. I just want to make this point on Texas Tech. I just can't unsee 4 Omahas from 2014 to 2019, right? Like I can't unsee that, but I also have to remember that it's not 2019 anymore. It's 2026. And so it's just they are a perplexing team, and I'm really intrigued to see what they look like. Go ahead, Bradley. What say you about this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll stick with the Big 12 theme. I did Oklahoma State's fall report, and they're really interesting to me because offensively, you've got some guys back. You got Colin Ritchie, Colin Brugman. You bring back 2 guys from injury. I think it's like 7 potential lineup guys that have a lot of experience. You feel pretty good about that. But then on the mound, you have a new pitching coach. You lose Hunter Watkins, your projected ace to an injury in the fall. So you're kind of looking at a pretty young staff outside of Mario Pesca, who's great, a Joe Healy fave.
The fish.
But after that, it's a lot of guys that are going to be asked to do workloads they've not done, like Ethan Lund coming back, and then what is a healthy Hudson Barrett? Is Hudson Barrett fully healthy? What does he look like? So I think there's a lot of this is a really tough weekend to start with. Just say, okay, let's see what we got. But I think I'm really high on Oklahoma State. I picked them in I think non-top 25 sleeper or one of our categories for our bold predictions. That sort of hinges on those arms pitching to the level they can.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bradley. If Ethan Lund and Hudson Barrett, who I believe has been announced as their opening day starter, which is huge. Again, a freshman All-American, was dominant at UCSB in 2023, and then the fish Mario Pesca could be the Sunday guy, and all those people back in that lineup, man, like now that team's got some real upside. So I don't know, they're gonna. I think those 3 guys we just named, like if they can get 40 starts out of that trio, man, like that team gets real interesting. But they didn't stay healthy last year, and that was a big part of them scraping into a regional.
Kudos, Runes, by the way, on the pronunciation. Since he's a New Yorker, it is Mario. You get the Mario versus Mario.
Yeah. Our good friend Chris Budden is married to a Mario, and I've asked her that, like Mario Toledo, like, is it Mario? And she says, I'm with his family, and you get both. Like they can't even decide how to say it. So I feel like that gives us carte blanche, Joe, to just go where we want to go.
Fair enough.
It's a real Valencius Valincus situation. It sounds like.
Oh God.
Yeah, you just do it how you want to do it. Boys, let's go to Arizona, and I'm going to combine the two tournaments. So we've got the Desert Invitational, which is sponsored by MLB, and that's always a very popular tournament. Chuck Fox and his crew do a great job with that. So the teams, you've got Kansas State, you've got Iowa, Penn State, Air Force, Nebraska, UConn, Grand Canyon, and Northeastern. So, a lot of really good teams there. Then out in Surprise, the Rev Entertainment guys at Surprise Stadium, you've got Oregon State, it's always fun to watch them play there because it's like the entire Beaver Nation comes down from Oregon. It's just painted orange and black. It's so great. And then they're going to play Arizona, Stanford, and Michigan. That's the 4 teams there. And then Arizona State's hosting Omaha. Go Mavs, Omaha, Nebraska. So just a ton of great baseball here. Bradley, let's start with you. What jumps out off the page for the 49th state, if you will?
Yeah. I'll stick with my fall report teams, just because I feel like once you write a fall report, you have like an investment in seeing how all of the things you wrote turned out in the spring. And so Penn State and Northeastern, both, sticking with the Northeast team going to Arizona. Northeastern's one where it's like they got some star power in the lineup, but this is just like an entirely new pitching staff. I think it's like 90% of innings pitched gone. And that was from the team that, led the nation in ERA last year. So we trust that staff to find the next guys, but what that looks like is going to be pretty interesting, especially Andrew Wirtz, who I did not see in the fall, but big time arm, ridiculous numbers.
I saw him in the summer in the NACBL, and it's a big time arm for sure. And he actually, I think he threw a lot of strikes too last summer and I think in the spring as well. So I mean, like, it seems like there's some pitchability there and stuff, and it's a really uncomfortable at bat. The way it comes at you, it's deception, and it feels like not a guy I would want to face. Put it that way.
Yeah, and I think he's going Saturday. I think he's going after Robbie O'Connor, if I saw that right. And then the other one's Penn State, where it's back-to-back years they were so close to punching their ticket through the Big Ten tournament. The goal really all fall has been want to get more consistent in the regular season, not leave it up to having to, sweep through the Big Ten tournament. And I think they have a lot of talent there. And I'm really interested they brought in, it's going to be a brand new weekend rotation, Colin Fitzgerald from Maine, Ben Hudson out of West Virginia, and then a freshman, Isaiah Shader. So what those 3 look like, because I like the bats. They have a really interesting mix, good depth. Bryce Molinaro's back. So it's going to be a fun Penn State offense to watch, and how that pitching staff comes together is going to be. So again, I feel like I'm just stressing pitching staffs, but this is our first chance to see, like, what does a weekend look like for these different staffs?
Yeah, it's almost like the lineups and the pitching rotations. It's revealing, right? Like, it's almost more revealing than the performance at this point in the year, even though, coaches are doing different things and guys maybe aren't fully ramped up. I have a question for you guys. Harrison Feinberg of Northeastern is a member of the Fabulous Rune Dogs, and, we put a lot of rev share into him. I believe he's a $49 player. Do I take him to lunch this weekend, Joe? Do I maybe, take him to a local batting cage and just make sure that we like how the swing looks, or do you think that's maybe helicopter coaching?
I thought you meant when you said take him to a batting cage, I thought you meant just like have a nice day out where you go to one of those places where it's like a batting cage and bumper boats and go-karts. Like, I thought that's what you were referring to. I was like, hell yeah, Runes, do that. Yeah. Just do that. Go have a nice day with Harrison Feinberg. Like, I say do that. That's a dynamite idea.
Hey, you want to catch a movie? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See what's out and see what's in the cinema.
This awkward. Oh, love it. Fitzy, what say you on these Arizona teams?
I'm kind of intrigued by the opening day at Stanford against Arizona. And I think that's kind of a interesting matchup. Arizona is a team that we had a lot of conviction in their pitching. That's why they're ranked in the top 25. But then you lose a first-team preseason All-American closer, Tony Pluta. And probably if we were to redo the rankings today, frankly, I wouldn't have them on my list because he was an important piece. Mm-hmm. It's a team that we bet on their pitching, and you still have Owen Kramkowski and Smith Bailey. It's a great 1-2 punch. But it's just they just lost a big piece, and their lineup has a lot of question marks. And so, I want to see how their offense comes together first of all, and second of all, Stanford is maybe a little bit of the opposite, where uh, I think they have a lot of mound talent, but not a lot of track record of success. It's. I mean, Nick Dugan's has had some success, but I mean, like a lot of their guys kind of had bad years last year. I mean, it's just not a lot back with an ERA like under 5 or 6 even. And it's just like talented arms. I mean, Aiden Keenan, is how's that going to look? I assume he's in the rotation this weekend, Bradley. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I mean, like that's a guy that had a lot of success for the first half last year in the bullpen. I'd like to see how that looks in the starting role. I would like to see how they use Brock Kettleson, the exciting freshman. They've got some guys that I think have a chance to be pretty darn good, but we kind of need to see a little bit. And of course, there's the Rentaro factor. Year 2 for Rentaro Sasaki. Is he going to break out and be the huge megastar that we thought he might be, just based on the hype coming out of Japan? That's be the nice first look at him this weekend.
Yep. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm intrigued by Iowa, and I want to see how Iowa comes out of this weekend, because it strikes me that they're a team that really challenges themselves at this time of year, but rarely comes away with the wins they need. So I think about 2 years ago, they played in the Jacksonville tournament. And if those 3 games had been 6 innings, and people don't talk about this enough, baseball games they're 9 innings. Like, people don't talk about that enough. If you're leading after 6, it doesn't count for anything. But had those games been 6 innings, Iowa would have gone 3-0. Instead, they went 0-3. They gave up leads after the 6th inning in all 3 games and went 0-3 in that tournament. Last year, they got off to a slow start as well. They lost a series against South Florida. They went to a tournament at Stetson and lost to Notre Dame. They lost 3 out of 4 games to Washington State in a neutral site series. So for Iowa, it's a team that always feels like it's having to like claw its way out of this hole early in the season. And I get it. Look, they probably haven't been outside much in Iowa City. Like, they're shaking some of the winter rust off, if you will. Like, I get it. That's kind of the way Midwestern teams have to play. They have to play their way into shape. They really do. But if they're going to be an at-large type of team, and they've established themselves as a quality year after year type of team that could be in that mix, but it feels like they often end up getting undone by some things that happened early enough in the season that wouldn't have happened later in the season, but they just struggle to get out of the gate quickly. So they've got an opportunity here to win some quality games early and maybe create a little bit of a smoother course the rest of the season for themselves.
Yeah, well said. There is some of these cold weather teams in Arizona, and I'll see a bunch of them. I'm going to bop around quite a bit this weekend, but it's like to your point, Joe, you have to just take it with a grain of salt, right? They're just going to be a different team when you see them in May, and they've been outside longer. I'm really curious about Michigan, because Tracy Smith, when I've seen him interviewed in the preseason, seems really high on this team, and I don't think he would just fake it. And but it's counterintuitive to me, because they've lost some players. Then Dylan Vigue's now at Georgia, and but they seem really, really excited, and I believe in Tracy. I know he's a great coach, and I'm kind of a buyer right now, but I want to see it. Oregon State, I think best rotations in the country. We've talked about them in North Carolina, and Virginia Tech is like sneaky one of the best rotations in the country. But I'm just really curious about the position player group for Oregon State. And they're fun to watch. And, the other thing too, boys, is Arizona State. I'll watch them on Saturday afternoon. And I'm, again, it's the team closest to me that I see the most. Obviously I work there. I feel like I chickened out on Arizona State in the preseason. I know why I did, because you get 9 kids drafted in the top 10 rounds. I mean, that's just not a team that you're gonna just lay down in the highway for in the preseason, right? Like, that's just. But man, I love their talent. They crush the portal. I love their arm talent on the mound. And I will see Colin Linder on Saturday, who's a JUCO transfer, started his career at A&M. He's really important for them. That I think their bullpen's going to be incredible. But anyway, I'm curious to watch them and get eyes on Colin Linder. He will be very important for them. Let's just go random. There's a lot of. I'll tell you what's interesting. There's a lot of series this weekend that could be regional versus regional team. And I don't think that's random. I think that's purposeful scheduling. I see a lot of really good teams playing the perceived best team from a different conference. And I'm going to run down the list of series that I just kind of picked out. Indiana's going to North Carolina. Bowling Green, who could very easily win the MAC, going to Georgia Tech. Wright State, the worst 4 seed of your life, going to Georgia. Fitzy, where you're going to be, and I'll have you comment on this. UCSB going to USM. I mean, that's just gorgeous. What an amazing and 2, Hattiesburg, Santa Barbara. I mean, it's like it's just absolute.
They're sister cities, I believe.
That's right. Incredible. Missouri State versus Louisiana. Going to Louisiana. Kentucky at Greensboro. You're going there, Joe. Fairfield at Coastal. Love that. Kansas is going to UTRGV, which, by the way, is one of the sneaky great venues in college baseball. Everyone says the crowds down there are awesome. Xavier going to East Carolina because, Billy Gowen couldn't get the Red Sox to play him, so he's just going to play East Carolina instead. Xavier just absolutely hates themselves when they do scheduling. I love everything about that. Creighton at St. Mary's, that's a really good matchup. Cal Baptist at Fullerton, and then Gonzaga at Hawaii. I just love the whole get up at Les Murakami Stadium. So, Fitzy, you want to kind of talk us through Santa Barbara and USM?
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. I always love going to Hattiesburg. First of all, I mean, it's a fantastic fan base. I think it's gonna be a great atmosphere, and they're good every year. So that helps. It's a good reason to go down there. They're good every year. They don't ever drop off. And I think it's more the same. I mean, there's just a lot of position players back. It's a really good 1-2 punch there with Kobe Allen and Grayson. Help me out here, guys. I'm blanking on the last name, but anyway, it's a really good 1-2 punch on the mound as well. I think they've got some nice pieces in the bullpen. I just think they're really well-rounded, balanced, complete club. But Santa Barbara, it's just the pitching. Whew, I mean, it's also very exciting. This is a team that I kind of feel that Runes, I know you're bullish in the Big West this year. I heard you on the D1 Daily say you think it's gonna be a Big West team in Omaha, and that's a bold pick I can get behind. I think between Irvine, Cal Poly, and Santa Barbara, you've got 3 legitimate teams that have a chance to make a run. And I think with Santa Barbara, I mean, Jackson Flora and Cole Treba and some of these guys, they've got some firepower, like some real firepower on the mound. So I think seeing those guys go against the Southern Miss hitters is going to be a lot of fun. And we'll learn something about the Santa Barbara position player group. That's kind of the question mark for them. That's why they weren't, a top 25 team, because I think they have a top 25 caliber pitching staff. So fun series, and I'll probably finish the weekend, I think, on Sunday down in Lafayette for Missouri State and the Cajuns, which I think will be a lot of fun also. 2 teams that we think have postseason potential. I think we picked Missouri State to win their league, and certainly a very offensive club. Could be an offensive day down there on Sunday. We'll see how that plays out, but I think it's gonna be a fun matchup also.
Graydon Harris, is that who you're thinking of,
That's
Fitzy?
it. Thank you. What did I say? I don't.
You pulled the chute wisely, instead of going there. Hey, who's the big slugger for Missouri State, Joe? Is it Caden Bogenpool?
Bogenpool, yeah.
And he's enormous, right?
He's a large human for sure. He's a little bit of like a poor man's Jack Caglione when he got to campus, in that he was going to be a 2-way guy. Now they've just focused him on hitting, but it was 110 exit velocities and 95 miles an hour on the mound. And I'd have to look at Seif's rankings to see, but I'm pretty sure he's the best prospect not in a power conference for this season.
Fitzy, can you describe? I've never been to Pete Taylor Park in Hattiesburg, and it is 100% on my bucket list. It looks awesome, and we see it in the postseason all the time. Is there other parks that it reminds you of, or how would you describe Pete Taylor Park?
Interesting. I mean, it's got a kind of a similar vibe to, I think, Keith LeClaire in Greenville, East Carolina's park. It's maybe not quite as polished as that. I mean, just the LeClaire Stadium setup is maybe just a little bit a little bit elevated as far as some of the amenities go. But it's that's the kind of atmosphere that you get there, and they've done a really good job creating the right field roost thing and the whole game day atmosphere. It's awesome. It's a really neat setup there.
Go ahead, Joe. Go.
I think the fact that it's not polished, I think probably adds to it. Honestly, like don't get me wrong, would they like to have some more bells and whistles? I'm sure, but I do think the unpolished element probably adds something to the atmosphere at least.
Yeah,
I keep thinking of Blake Burke in that regional a couple years ago hitting a ball through the roost. I mean, just hit it every bit of 500 feet, and he was struggling too, but that was always on the table. That was his sophomore year. Joe, talk to us about Kentucky and Greensboro. Did I see Jackson Jelkin is getting the ball first for Kentucky?
He is. That was a surprise to me. I figured, Ben Cleaver was the best starter last year. He's their best returning starter, so he could be the Friday guy. Their other starter, whose name is totally escaping me right now, started on Fridays last year. And so I thought Harris, thank you. I thought his last name was Harris, but I get him and Leighton Harris confused. They have two Harrises on that pitching staff, but Nate Harris started last year on Fridays. So I thought, okay, he could be the Friday starter because, you could just couch that in like, well, he did it last year, so let's just roll it over. But it turns out to be Jelkin. And look, the best version of Kentucky is one in which Jackson Jelkin is good enough to be their Friday guy because it is game-changing arm talent. And there's not a lot of proof in that pudding, if you will. Like it's one of the strangest careers of anybody currently playing college baseball in terms of all the different stops and the fits and starts and the injuries and all that stuff. But in terms of arm talent, it's all there. And if he's Friday starter good, I think that's really good news for Kentucky. Now we'll see. And I'll have a good look at it tomorrow, and I'm sure there'll be pitch counts and all that stuff involved. So, won't be won't be what it is necessarily in April or May, but I'm fired up to see it because if they have the confidence in him to go out there and pitch on opening day, I think it says good things about Kentucky's pitching staff as a whole.
Their big question mark is catcher, Joe, right? Like, would you say that's the most unproven part of that roster?
Yeah, well, question mark in that I don't know that they know exactly what they want to do with that position yet. They've got three guys there. They've got a transfer from Elon, Duffy, I believe is the last name there, Taggart Tyson from Louisville, and then Owen Jenkins, the freshman. Owen Jenkins is kind of like the Tyler Bell light in that he was a draft prospect they got to come to campus rather than sign. All three guys are going to play. So yes is the answer to your question, just from the standpoint of I don't think anybody in that coaching staff, anybody in that clubhouse could tell you what the timeshare is going to be there. But I do think they like the pieces they have. So I don't think it's a question of, do we have the right guy on campus? It's just a matter of figuring out which one the right guy is, if that makes sense.
Yep. Love it. Bradley, what say you? What's something that jumps off the page at you outside of those big tournaments?
Yeah, I think the Georgia Tech Bowling Green series is really interesting to me. Bowling Green's a program that kind of revived itself, came back from the dead, back-to-back 33-win seasons. They lost some guys to the draft. They lost, Garrett Wright to Tennessee, but still bring back a good bit of that offense. And they have some legit arms too, like Jacob Turner, their Friday guy. I think I saw in our previews up to 97. So they have some really good pieces, and I think they're going to be a really good test right out of the gate for this new look, sort of familiar faces, but new look Georgia Tech staff where, you bring in Mason Patel on Saturday, you bring in Cooper Underwood, a really promising freshman on Sunday. You have those two behind Tate McKee. So I'm really interested to see what what that group looks like, and then what those first arms out of the bullpen look like, because we've heard a lot. Everyone knows what the Georgia Tech offense is capable of. I think once we can see, okay, what does this pitching staff look like? That's where it's really gonna get interesting for the Yellow Jackets, because if they're as good as they seem like they can be, just in terms of arm talent, that's an immediate boost to that. But I know we have them really high preseason, but that's one of the things that keeps coming up. So I'll be interested to see him against that Bowling Green lineup.
Yeah, and I think the combination of, hey, last year the top two teams in our preseason didn't have great years, and then some of these teams playing really difficult teams weekend one makes it even more intriguing. By the way, I need to call myself out. -10, Fitzy, I'll just throw 10 out there. You can decide. Billy O'Connor of Xavier, not Billy Godwin. I do miss Billy Godwin coaching in college baseball. But
BG, Aaron and I see him out and about. He's still scouting with
the right?
Yeah, so we see him out and about in the Carolinas.
Love that. So I think Indiana going to North Carolina is that, like, North Carolina's breaking in a new lineup, and Indiana is good, and they have a lot of dudes back. I think there's some Cal Baptist. You guys have heard me talk about. I picked them to win the WAC. It's Abilene Christian was maybe a more obvious choice because they have so much back. But Cal Baptist has Cody New back on the mound and Chris Ramirez, their shortstop. And then they just picked up a bunch of grad transfers. I mean, Cal Baptist has 6 grad transfers in their top projected hitters and pitchers. And then they have 4 seniors on top of that. It's amazing with the portal, how old you can get, how quickly you can do it. Fullerton's improved. I think, boys, to wrap the SEC, I'll be curious which of this grabs you guys. Some of the stuff in the SEC. So first of all, Lindsey Nelson Stadium, I can't wait to see more of that, what it looks like. Just the facility, the upgrade looks incredible. I mean, just the videos that have come out on Twitter look awesome. I mean, Nevada, I should say, going to Ole Miss, like that's not an easy opening weekend. The Brian O'Connor era starts in Starkville for Mississippi State. That will be fun. Washington State has like 90% of their production from last year back going to Alabama. Florida will host UAB. How about, this is another tricky one. Is it me or is A&M hosting Tennessee Tech? Like, that's not a laydown. Like that, they could be good. Like that, I don't know. Fitzy, you go first. Which of those SEC series jump out at you?
Well, actually, I want to get Valley Joe's impressions on the Tennessee Tech call out there. That's your beat, Joe. What do you got on that?
Yeah, they're trending the right way. They're obviously not back to the peak of what we knew Tennessee Tech to be before Matt Braga left to take the Rice job back then. But they are trending in the right direction. I think Runes is onto something. I do think that's going to be uncomfortable at times for A&M. Ultimately, I don't know that Tennessee Tech has the Jimmies and Joes to, if you will, to get the job done and get a win there. But I do think they are going to make it kind of uncomfortable for them for sure.
I want to go to Athens, Runes. You mentioned it briefly earlier, but Wright State in Georgia is kind of fun, man. Like this Wright State team, it's got to be more of the same. They're just they look like they're going to be quite frisky. You got a real ace back with Cam Allen, who's like a mid-90s guy with the kitchen sink kind of arsenal to throw 5 or 6 pitches at you. And Griffin Page was in their rotation. We'll see if he takes a step forward this year. But that's obviously like matching up with SEC pitching staffs. You're not gonna be able to do that. You're just like as a Horizon League team. I mean, you're gonna have to hit. But they can hit. Like JP Peltier and Hunter Warren and Patrick Fultz and they got a bunch of guys who put up numbers last year that are back, and they're not going to be afraid. They're in a regional every year, and they usually scare somebody or beat somebody in a regional. So that's a great little test for Georgia coming out of the chute.
Love it. Boys, Bradley, did you get to pick an SEC one? Did I skip you?
I got sniped by Aaron. Because Cam Allen, last time we saw him, he was throwing 6 no-hit innings against #1 overall seed Vanderbilt with 7 punch outs. So that's a fun one. I think the one thing that stood out to me as I've started to put together weekend rotations for tomorrow, another D1Baseball plug. I think there's a lot of really interesting Sunday starters, new faces like Cooper Walls, Thomas Felikas coming over, and a couple freshmen too. So I think there's some names that people maybe aren't super familiar with in the SEC yet, but are clearly regarded as top 3 arms on their respective staffs.
Alabama's throwing Upchurch, right? What is that? What's his first name? Miles Upchurch, something like that. Yeah. He sounds really talented.
Great arm, spins the heck out of it. Yeah, that's intriguing. What was I about to say? Oh man, Cam Johnson. The Cam Johnson. All the hype on that guy over this offseason. Has he finally figured it out? I mean, he's always had the talent since high school. He was like the #1 prospect in high school baseball to show up on campus at OSU. And, obviously it's just about strikes. And if in fact he's turned the corner, that's a difference maker for Oklahoma. So keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, they've got Texas Tech in their opener, which is a tough matchup, obviously, with the physicality of that Tech lineup. And I did a radio hit earlier today where I got asked about Cam Johnson, and my thing is, if he comes out and strikes out the side in the first inning, that's great. Obviously, that's a positive, but I'm less interested in that and more interested in what happens when he's got 2 runners on and nobody out in the 4th inning, and his pitch count is getting up there, and he's seeing the lineup a second time through, because that's really, last year he started off okay for Oklahoma last year, and it just kind of went off the rails on him. And you talk to Skip Johnson and he'll tell you the difference this year has been that those innings aren't getting away from him, at least not in the fall and in the preseason. Those innings have not gotten away from him in the same way they did last year. And so, like, yes, it's going to be impressive stuff and we know what he's capable of, but I'm more interested in what do you do when you've got an ugly inning that you have to work your way out of or minimize. And that's going to be, I think, the canary in the coal mine for whether or not he's going to be able to be up to being a full-time starter for them.
Love it. Boys, I have one final question for you. I do want to mention that my favorite takeaway from this podcast is that Joe went and watched a JUCO game last weekend just to get reps. Like, I absolutely love that. Test our setup. Bradley, I'll start with you. This weekend, will you be partaking in ballpark food? Or are you a shop outside the stadium and bring food in? You know, again, the patron saint of this maneuver is the great Kendall J. Rogers walking into the Omaha press box with a Ziploc bag of broccoli. So that I'm not holding you to that standard, but
and almonds, broccoli and almonds,
and really smelly protein powder.
Oh God, the worst.
Really smelly.
Can we leave the protein powder at home for Pete's sake?
What's your plan of attack, Bradley?
Yeah, I think there's some weather that's going to spread out the games a bit. So I'm going to try to get out and explore the area. I had a really good burrito tonight for those listening at home, if you're curious. But yeah, no, I think I'll try to get out of the ballpark and try to squeeze, a quick meal somewhere.
Love it. Joe, what's your plan? Oh, you're a home game for you, I suppose.
Yeah, more or less a home game. Get to sleep in my own bed, but we'll see. I don't have the most when it comes to what I'm eating around games. I tend to not prioritize like going out of my way for something unique or different. Like I prioritize convenience around games. So, your usual suspects are very much in play. The Paneras of the world are very much in play when I'm going to a game and I know there's not going to be food on offer that I'm going to be interested in. But more importantly, like, why does Kendall's protein powder smell like sulfur? Like, I'm not really sure. You know what I mean? Like, I just really...
He bought it at a gas station. That's what happened.
I don't understand. It just has a sulfuric smell to it.
Oh, it's the worst.
Joe, weekend waypoints, which will come back and play this weekend. Listening to that on the road at a Panera is one of my favorite routines.
Oh, well, thank you, Runes. That means a lot. I will go ahead and put that plug in here because there is a little bit of a change this year with weekend waypoints. Same show, same bat channel, but not the same bat time as they used to say back in the day. That's a Batman reference, as you may have gathered. Going at a specific time this year. Weekend waypoints every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning is going to come at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, 7:30 Pacific. If you're a alum out there on the West Coast. Just ultimately came the decision that people ask, like, that people say, oh, I wish I had seen it live because I take questions live, or I just feel like I missed it. I didn't know when it was going. So we made a change this year. We're going to do it at a specific time. So if you're listening to this and you want an SEC weekend preview a little more in depth, I'm going to do that tomorrow morning, 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, D1Baseball X and YouTube, those types of places.
I've decided my moniker this year, when I call in, if you will, is going to be Mike from the Quad Cities. So,
okay, great.
Yeah,
Davenport, Iowa action.
Yeah, well, we have Quad Cities up here in northern Arizona.
Oh, do you really?
Air quote cities. It should be called the Quad Towns.
Is Prescott one of the quads?
I like to consider it the anchor of the Quad Towns.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
wow.
But I don't think my brethren at Prescott Valley will appreciate that. But let's not start a mountain war while we're here. Yeah, Fitzy, what do you got what's your food plan at the yard?
Yeah, I'm an opportunistic eater. I would love to.
He's a hunter-gatherer.
Hunter-gatherer for sure. It's I'd love to go out there and sample all the best local cuisine, but usually there's not time for that, especially when you're bouncing from site to site. I wind up eating way too much ballpark food, way more than I would like to eat in fast food drive-through, just because I'm headed to the next place, and I don't like that. But that's kind of the reality of it. But I'm not going to bring protein. I have too much respect for my fellow humans to stink up my entire proximity by bringing in some nasty ass protein shake. We're not doing that. We're not about that.
I did bring. It reminds me of last year. I did bring a pouch of tuna one time into a press box, and I didn't realize what I was doing until I opened it and it was like, "Oh no!"
Oh gosh.
I think you got docked heavily for that on the nonsense tracker. That was
probably
deserved.
I have something that, like, we have Sprouts out here. They're just wonderful. Yeah. They're like Whole Foods, but not your whole paycheck kind of thing. They're wonderful. And so my go-to is to purchase, because this is a semi-home game for me this weekend, purchase 2 sandwiches, which I did just a few hours ago, get the saran wrap going. And one is just your standard boar's head, tomato, American cheese, turkey, wonderful, multi-grain, wonderful sandwich. The other one, Fitzy, this not everyone in the press box is going to love this, but it's a tomato caprese, kind of like hoagie-ish sandwich. It's got some pesto in there. So if you're a non-pesto lover, you're not going to love that. But it keeps me out of the concession lines where only bad decisions can be made.
That's right. Only bad decisions and bad cholesterol.
That's right. Yeah, we need to be careful.
Hey,
there.
If anyone has a recommendation for Hattiesburg, I do hope to get a meal in Hattiesburg at some point. That's not at the ballpark. So hit me up on the X app, the Everything app.
That's everything right. Very good. Bradley, keep a journal down there, please. Like we want a full report when you come back, not just game stories.
Yeah, I'm on it. Got my camera and everything.
Yeah, I'll be curious up here, in the States, if you will. Your mustache is very, like it gets a lot of acclaim. I'm curious if down there, if it's just another mustache or if it's still got the same type of star power there. So
I doubt I will be hailed as much as I am up here.
Just a garden variety mustache.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
You're just another guy down there.
Yeah, that's right. Just a jag.
It's nice. New lease on life.
Let's go. Very good. All right, everybody. That was very fun. Here we go. The games begin. Previews are done. The preseason is behind us. Fitzy's not editing 10,000 words per night anymore. We are just watching baseball. And again, now is the time to get your sub D126 at checkout. D126 gets you 30% off. So you can have the beautiful 5 tabs open, a scoreboard, a couple tabs for players, and a couple fall reports, and you are ready to watch college baseball in an educated way. Everyone have a great opening weekend, and we will catch you next time on the D1 Baseball podcast.